The DOJ, Department of Justice for you non-Americans, basically said, here's what we're planning on making you do. Force them to sell Google Chrome, prompt users to choose their search engine instead of having it default to Google. It's kind of a pretty big deal. Google posted this little blog post. It's basically like, this is unfair. You can't do this. The hearing isn't scheduled until April, so it's not like this is happening tomorrow. Did everyone read the CISA Red Team write-up?
It's pretty interesting that they were unable to get in through normal means, like through password spraying or credential stuffing or whatever. But, oh, look at this. There's a web shell. We'll just use that. I thought that was pretty interesting that was still lurking around. How hard do you go after your teams to say, so we're cleaning up, right? We're doing a really good job of removing artifacts, right?
As a blue teamer, that is the hardest thing to do. And I hate all the red teamers because they never do it.
It's kind of a dual responsibility. The pen tester should clearly report, here's a list of artifacts to clean up. But also the company should be reading the pen test report and saying, hey, they deployed this web shell on this web server. We need to make sure we go and find that and delete it. Let's talk about Defender. So this is like a weird article that I kind of felt like I was getting drunk while reading it. So the article is, Microsoft Defender is not enough anymore. This malware gets around it. But then the article goes on and basically just explains why they were actually using malware bytes. And I'm like, wait, what is it? Defender, malware bytes? They also mentioned Bitdefender. Do people actually think if you download free malware bytes that it's going to block all malware?
I still think that is a very common thing of definitely that past generation of having to install an antivirus. It's still there and it's still fresh.
I feel like I've been telling people for years to just use Defender. Not that it can't be bypassed. I mean, I feel like that's also, something you tell people when you give them this information. You say, just use Defender, but also think before you click. Oh, no. Razzlekhan's going to prison? Or the Crocodile of Wall Street or whatever. Her and her partner, he was kind of the mastermind and she was more the rapper. They hacked Bitfinex and they stole a ridiculous amount of money.
71 million at the time. Here's the crazy part. That 71 million at the time is now worth almost 11 billion though. That's the freaking crazy part. But only 18 months. So
18 months is only long enough to get more street cred as a rapper. She makes really good music. If you haven't seen it on YouTube, I highly recommend it. I apologize in advance. I would recommend muting halfway through the video.
The nearest neighbor attack was pretty cool.
I joked with my team that it's the world's most complicated MFA bypass.
So they originally came in, they used OSINT to figure out the companies that were around their initial target. They had less security, hacked them, looked for a computer that was physically plugged into the network with an Ethernet cable, and that had their Wi-Fi open, then scanned the Wi-Fi, saw the Wi-Fi, connected in, and then did a bunch of other stuff too. The Wi-Fi stuff, because of course we have, usually you have your private Wi-Fi, and then there's almost always a guest Wi-Fi on the network. And the guest Wi-Fi is just randomly people connecting, and there's usually false positive alerts coming through there all the time. You try to track it back down to a MAC address and maybe ban them, but like most of the time, stuff connecting into Wi-Fi is not a very good alert. So seeing this, it does scare me. Like how would I build a detection based off of this?
Palo Alto Networks is kind of panicking and running around trying to fix people's firewalls.
Last week, they said they had a 0-day that they were unsure of how it was being exploited. And then like this week, this came out, and I think this was we figured it out. Here's a patch.
D-Link is now warning customers, replace your end-of-life VPN routers. There's a critical RCE vulnerability that is discovered and is not going to be fixed. It doesn't have a CVE yet.
It's not going to be fixed? They said that?
It's not going to be fixed. They do say third-party open firmware, aka DDWRT, may exist, but we don't officially support or recommend this, and using it voids a warranty, which I don't know how there's a warranty with no security updates, but... Scattered Spider is a threat actor we covered a lot on this show in the past. They were a really active ransomware group between September 2021 and April 2023. They also did SMS phishing, cryptocurrency stuff. 5 people were charged. But I think the shocking part about this is almost all of them are based in the US. So like we got Texas, we got Florida, another Texas, North Carolina.
They were all in their 20s.
They were pretty good.
It's rare to see a threat group or an APT or whatever we're calling them, ransomware group, be based mostly in the US. You can't just block China and say no more hacks, I guess is the moral of the story. Patch your 7-zips. There's currently a memory corruption style vulnerability. The 7-zip app doesn't have a built-in native updater. It doesn't update itself. Update your 7-zips.
Join us for live InfoSec news every Monday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time on the Black Hills InfoSec YouTube channel.